Take a close look at the reflection on the dashboard screen. This isn't just some boring late-night traffic routine caught on camera. This footage is a real-time recording by content creator Jorge Nava 13. It was pouring rain outside and the overpass was completely gridlocked. To pass the time, he turned on the car music and casually pointed his phone camera at the center console screen ahead. But the moment the music started playing, the pitch-black rearview monitor suddenly flickered. A cold sweat instantly drenched his back.
Ver algo de susto. En la cámara se ve a alguien sentado atrás.
Through the infrared night vision reflection of the screen, he saw with absolute clarity that a pale-faced old woman dressed in a burial shroud was sitting perfectly upright in his empty backseat. The eerie figure sat motionless, staring dead at him through the rearview mirror as he recorded. Keep in mind, he was supposed to be completely alone driving home tonight. With the windows rolled up and the doors locked tight, when on earth did this elderly woman get in?
Y pues no hay nadie. Y yo aquí en el carro cagándome de susto claramente.
His breathing completely froze. Stealing his nerves, he did the one thing that viewers online fear the most. Turned around and panned his phone camera directly toward the empty backseat. There was indeed nothing back there. He reassured himself, no one there, thank goodness. My eyes must have been playing tricks on me. If you happen to be driving right now, whatever you do, don't look back. There's nothing there. Take a close look at the three dark shadows under the gate ahead. If you see this scene on an empty street late at night, whatever you do, don't take another step forward. This first-person POV footage comes from overseas creator _Andresk. It was midnight with torrential rain pouring down and the wind howling. For some reason, the streetlights in the small town were all out, leaving dead silence all around except for the anxious whimpering of his dog. Just as he was about to cut through this alleyway to go home, the beam of his flashlight accidentally swept across the white wall ahead. A cold sweat instantly ran down his spine. Right there in front of the gate, three tall, dark silhouettes were standing with absolute clarity. They were perfectly humanoid, with no facial features and no movement, like three predators lurking in the dark of night, coldly watching him. Amidst the raging storm, these three dark figures didn't even show a single flutter on the corners of their clothes, standing rigidly frozen in the dark. Terrified, he froze in his tracks. His retreat was cut off by the heavy rain, and those three shadows seemed to flicker with the faint light. Tell me, what was going through your mind just now? Did you catch the trick? This isn't an AI-generated clip. This is real footage. Those three shadows are actually neither living humans nor spiritual entities. They are simply the shadow silhouettes of the white fence and pillars on the right, projected onto the wall at a specific angle by a distant, faint light source. So sometimes we shouldn't scare ourselves over nothing. Take a close look at this area. In a moment, a rather chilling surprise is going to pop up. This footage captures a real late-night moment recorded by creator Pasha.brwl1. It was midnight and he lived alone in a suburban countryside bungalow. Just as he was getting ready for bed, he suddenly noticed that the living room light had somehow turned on by itself. The wooden floorboards emitted a bone-chilling creak with every step. Holding his phone up, he held his breath and slowly walked toward the living room. A cold sweat instantly drenched his back.
This is actually creepy. Watch this. The light's on in the living room. Okay. I turn it off. Watch what happens. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There's a silhouette right in front of me. Nah, this is messed up. I turn the light back on. There's nothing there. So where the hell is that shadow coming from?
The exact moment the light was turned off, a tall, humanoid dark shadow was clearly reflected in the room. The shadow stood perfectly still in front of the sofa, neither breathing nor making a sound. What's even creepier is that while his own body wasn't moving at all, the dark shadow on the wall was trembling slightly in the light, as if it were planning to approach him outside the door. Nearly 1,000 comments in the section are locked in a fierce debate. The vast majority are playing tough, firmly stating, "That's just the creator's own shadow." What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments.
This is haunted time. That's right. You have intercepted the hidden signal. More secrets are about to be unveiled. Do not miss the next episode. Subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell right now. Otherwise, the signal will disappear forever. I repeat, subscribe now.
On November 17, 2015, a woman mysteriously vanished into thin air. The entire process of her disappearance was fully captured by surveillance cameras, portraying a deeply eerie scene. Even she herself couldn't explain where she was or where she was heading, and the area she stepped into was completely swallowed by boundless darkness. The lady had originally taken a short nap in the elevator, and when she opened her eyes, she realized something was off with it. Take a look at the elevator display screen. She originally intended to go to the first floor, but after arriving there, it didn't stop. It can also be clearly seen from outside that the cabin was continuing to descend. Here lies a suspicious point. This building has absolutely no underground floors. If there were a B1 or B2, the elevator buttons would display them accordingly. So, what exactly malfunctioned with the elevator? Where was it heading? Could it be a gateway to hell? As the elevator kept descending, other people suddenly appeared in the frame. Seeing this, I couldn't help but wonder, did the recording equipment malfunction, or did she accidentally wander into a parallel universe? The place she finally arrived at was pitch black, with creepiness oozing from every corner. After she stepped out of the elevator, the cabin began to rise. During the ascent, another bizarre scene unfolded. Pay close attention to this detail. Could this be the root cause of the entire anomaly? Eventually, the elevator returned to normal, operating as usual for people to ride. Beneath the sun-scorched desert of Mexico lies an isolated vertical dead zone plunging 550 feet deep. Local rumors whisper that it's no mining shaft, but a bottomless abyss swallowing countless secrets. As the expedition team gambled their lives on a single rope that could snap at any second, slowly descending into an absolute darkness untouched for decades, the only sound accompanying the dead silence was the piercing shriek of friction on the rope. No one knew what was buried deep underground, until the cold beam of the flashlight finally cut through the bottom of the pit, and a foul stench of death and rot instantly hit them in the face. The traces emerging from the dark seemed to silently confirm the most horrifying rumor of all. Is this purely an extreme expedition, or have they accidentally stumbled into a crime scene intentionally buried away?
I'm just gonna go the full 600 feet down. Oh. They measured it was supposed to be 500 feet. I have 600 feet of rope. Alright. Any dirt or loose rocks, I have to get out of the way so they don't fall on me. This face of the rock actually looks really good, so I won't be knocking any rocks down like this. So let's just drop these rocks. Oh, a little slower. Oh man. So it's starting to feel like I'm getting close. There's that thread still there. You can still see light up there. Oh, that's where I was before. Oh, let's grab some rocks to drop. What was that? Oh, there's another place in there. Oh, they're going down fast.
Did you hear those sounds? Let me replay them for you. The sound at the beginning seemed like a human voice, but what followed was definitely not something a human could make. Fortunately, this staff member made it out safely in the end. If given the chance for an adventure, would you be willing to descend into this cave? Take a close look at this 90s home video. Looks completely normal, right? At the time, a family was vacationing at Lake Champlain. In the frame, a child is happily riding a hydro disc. But please pay close attention to the calm water in the background. Just as the speedboat cruises past, a massive dark shadow several meters long suddenly breaks the surface. It has no fins and an eerie silhouette, looking exactly like a legendary ancient prehistoric beast. What's even more terrifying is that the person filming at the time noticed absolutely nothing. It wasn't until 30 years later, when the video was uploaded online and netizens enhanced the footage losslessly, that they realized the dark shadow was staring intently at the speedboat before slowly sinking back into the abyss. What do you think this is? Could it really be some kind of unknown creature? Take a close look at this fist-sized hole in the wall. It's definitely going to give you a jump scare in a moment. This footage comes from the ongoing late-night nightmare documented by creator Cezino.Santos official. Working as a night shift security guard, he was stationed all by himself in a desolate, tin security booth in the suburbs. This was already the second week of strange occurrences. Every night, a piercing scratching sound of fingernails scraping against the tin would come from the outer wall. Bearing immense psychological pressure, he once again fixed his phone camera dead on the hole in the wall. A cold sweat instantly dripped from his chin.
Rapaz, amigo, quase uma semana sem luz aqui agora, sem luz, sem água, rapaz. Aqui tá sem nada, tu é doido. Rapaz, deixa eu olhar se o dia amanheceu. Eu acho que amanheceu, rapaz. Rapaz, nossa senhora, rapaz, meu amigo. Rapaz, nossa senhora, meu Deus do céu. Deixa eu travar isso aqui. Ave Maria, cadê o cadeado? Deixa eu travar isso aqui, mano. Ave nossa senhora, mano. Tá travado aqui também, calma aí. Travar tudo aqui agora, mano. Rapaz. Rapaz, Ave Maria.
A long strip-like object with no skin and an eerie grayish-brown color was frantically twisting and writhing inside the hole as if it were alive. It seemed to have no vision, relying entirely on touch to whip and explore wildly through the air, almost slapping him right in the face several times. In this cramped, inescapable, airtight booth, whatever unknown entity outside seemed to be trying its absolute best to enlarge the hole. Over 6,000 comments across the internet were frantically warning him to run immediately. Some were convinced it was some unknown, mutated blind creature trying to prey on the person inside. However, the behind-the-scenes truth leaked by an insider will make your jaw drop. This is not an alien monster at all. It was actually his co-worker hiding outside the booth, pulling a prank by sticking a rough, dead tree branch through the hole. Be honest, did it scare you just now?
Amanhã eu vou ficar. Ui! Rapaz.
Located in Dallas, USA, a young girl named Nico initially just wanted to share her vibrant daily life abroad online. Until one day the air in her apartment began to feel off. It started with subtle, strange noises, which later escalated into a hair-raising paranormal comic strip. Most chillingly, when she tried to seek spiritual comfort by reading the Bible, the room door was pushed open as if by an invisible hand. Once and then again. Nico recorded everything. During a sudden scare, she even abandoned all her luggage and fled the apartment overnight. What exactly did she go through? Where did those unexplainable eyes watching from the dark come from? Her phone, which was quietly charging on the table, was mysteriously dragged to the floor by an unknown force. At first, she thought she just hadn't placed it securely, but after checking the surveillance footage, she learned the truth. And this eerie scene was merely the beginning of her horrific experience. The bizarre incident happened less than a meter away from her, dealing a massive psychological blow. Surely, anyone witnessing this firsthand would feel terror in their heart. But who could have guessed that what happened next would be far more terrifying? The objects on the table actually moved right under her nose. This time she really couldn't sit still. She quickly retreated to her room, but what she never would have guessed in her wildest dreams was that tonight might be her very last night in this house.
No mames. Creo que hay alguien atrás de la puerta. O algo.
With tears in her eyes, she rushed out of the house and drove away from the apartment. The next day she still chose to come back. Everything inside looked completely normal, as if the strange events of the previous night had never happened. However, the recording clearly captured a sinister dark shadow appearing at the doorway. She was certain that an unknown entity had broken in and lingered there, yet she could never find a logical answer. To this day, the incident remains an unsolved mystery. What are your thoughts on this? Feel free to chat in the comments. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Until next time, stay safe.